Battle Mylan CEO Heather Bresch taking fire and then some from members of Congress during her testimony to the U.S. House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform all over the high price of those EpiPens. And while Congress remains frustrated with Bresch's responses, or lack thereof, during the hearing, did patients and those that use these life-saving devices get the answers they wanted? Probably not, but we'll find out. Joining me now is Allergy Kids Foundation founder Robyn OBrien. Robyn, we've been following this with you every step of the way. Did you get any answers or the kind of answers that you wanted from Heather Bresch yesterday?
Well, you know what I think was absolutely fascinating was the bipartisan discuss with this business model. Like was mentioned before, a 94% market share that she confirmed is, in fact, a monopoly and monopolistic practices are in play. And to bring that to light, for Congress to be in front of her bringing that to light, while we had a $19 million salaried CEO sitting in that seat who was unable to answer even the most fundamental questions about her business model, to the point where one of the congressmen had to say, "Do I need to remind you, Ms. Bresch, that you are under oath?"
It's interesting, Robyn. One of the points that Heather Bresch made was, look, we don't get as much money, or the profits that we get from this are not as high as everyone thinks it is. There's a misconception, she said. We actually get, when you take out the development costs and the middlemen, it's a $100 profit for a 2-pack, or $50 per device. And she didn't apologize for the pricing. Does she have a point on the cost?
No, you heard from congressmen on both sides of the aisle saying, Ms. Bresch, your numbers don't add up. Your numbers are troublesome. And I think what needs to happen now is an investigation into the accounting practices of this company. We have numbers that don't add up. You have numbers that have been jacked up repeatedly on the price of an EpiPen, putting lives at risk. And we're wondering now how many wrongful deaths are factored into those price hikes. What are they going to do? And when she talked about a fair price for the price of an EpiPen of over $600 and then cutting it to a generic for $300, what is a fair price for an EpiPen? Well, if you can get on a plane and fly to Europe, it's about $100. If you can cross the border to Canada, it's a little bit more than $100. What is the fair price of an EpiPen? And by opening that conversation with this kind of managing and massaging of the pricing that they've been doing, I think it opens the company up to lawsuits where consumers are going to come back and say, you know what, we want our money back.
It's interesting. She also said that 85% of users pay less than $100 out of pocket. What about that argument?
You know, again, that was one of those circular arguments where she refused to answer the congressman, and she continued to push it around and push it around. That's a question that a lot of consumers have come back and said, I don't know where that number is coming from because I'm certainly not seeing it. And as we saw in the testimony, one of the congressmen said, you know, I'm a pharmacist. I've stood at that counter and I've had a mother in front of me who is on the phone crying because she cannot afford this device, and she is calling every family member she knows and she is calling every friend that she knows to try to afford a $600 device that is required for her child to attend school. And I think what we're seeing now is at the state level, attorney generals are saying, you know what, you misrepresented this product as a non-innovative drug, basically classifying it as a generic so that you could give us lower discounts. So Mylan has taken out of the pockets of Medicaid and Medicare at the state level, and I think that's going to be the next step in this.
So, Robyn, have you seen, there are other alternatives out there. I know that EpiPen has, a stranglehold on the market, as the congressman said there, but there are other alternatives. So more people turning to that. It's cheaper, I know.
You know, what's really interesting on that is that I'm hearing from a lot of doctors, and the doctors are saying, if I can help it, I will never write a prescription for this drug again. And the doctors are realizing that as they write those prescriptions, they can write them for the generics, and then the consumer can take that into the pharmacy and have access to the generic. But it does start at that level where the doctor actually has to write the prescription for the generic drug.
Well, certainly we haven't heard the last of this story. We will cover it every step of the way. And Robyn OBrien, we thank you for your insight into this. Allergy Kids founder. Robyn, thanks so much.